Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark, which is also you would have pulled over and blocked all 3 lanes to cut that corner. But doing so is saying
Right back to back, and I was like, oh my gosh.
so you one thing.
But is it marked well enough that they see it, or, I mean, I don't know, it just feels like, I mean, I've known it's been a truck route forever. Because when I pulled my horses, I would go that route, but
They're I don't know what a standard truck sign looks like. Gary, hold.
it almost feels like as many trucks as we have through town, it almost feels like it needs to be something that's lit up, almost like the blinking around the stop sign to draw attention, because these truck drivers are not paying attention. I mean,
Are we being recorded right now? Yes. Okay, never mind, I won't say that.
Oh, it's recording. We haven't officially.
Yeah, anyway, I was just like kind of blown away by this little.
Well, I was actually surprised I actually caught myself, so yeah, I tried taking videos of it and, sending it to you, but obviously it didn't.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. Spencer, I just emailed you.
I just got it, I just opened it.
Eric, that's that one from last month when I told you about we talked about the speed sign on Ivy going out of town. That was the written complaint. I just thought I would hand it to you since I thought I put it through the shredder. Hopefully I found it.
I know, I keep trying to,
Oh.
I was shredded as
I
I
was
was
shredding a
doing.
bunch of work stuff and I was like, I thought I put it aside, but then I couldn't find it. I'm like, oh, it must have went through the shredder.
It's officially 8:30.
Yeah, I'm gonna be kind of flexible this morning.
How flexible can you be?
Is this official meeting?
Yeah. See, who are we missing? Just
Tracy.
Tracy. I don't know if Gary's back from.
Gary's back.
Gary's back.
He's back.
Oh, yeah, wasn't that a nice trip?
Oh my gosh.
And there they both are.
After about 19 years. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, morning.
Well, yeah, well, there's lost some animals.
You decided to come back to the United States of America, huh?
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you.
It's great.
You have to remind me of this.
Okay. Well, that was the one he pulled it up on the video and we looked at the roads and there was no sign stating the speed leaving from 13th going out Ivy.
Okay, so this is that Ivy project.
Yes,
Okay.
that was one where we noticed there's a speed sign going into Canby, but not
Got,
leaving Canby.
okay. Gotcha.
And the little old people don't want to get hit.
All right, so theoretically, time is 8:36.
32.
Huh?
8:32.
Don't trust that, look at your phone.
It's today's time. So first and foremost, I'm gonna speak real quickly offhand here and say that, I want all of our, at least hopes and prayers go out to the folks of Florida, everyone down in the southeast, for what's about to come and what they've been through. I hope you guys are all safe and there's no more loss of life. So note that we stand behind you, and if we were there, we would be able to help you. So, starting the traffic safety committee, let's go call the meeting. I did that. We'll do introductions. Gary.
Good morning, Gary Bryant, member of Traffic Safety Committee. Happy to be here.
Deanna Paul Carp, Vice Chairperson. Jackie Jones, member.
Clint Coleman, traffic safety member.
Eric Van Zant, chairman.
Spencer Pollock, Canby Public Works.
Tina Shamp, traffic safety member.
Council President Tracy Hensley, and liaison to this commission.
Wyatt Parker, Canby Police. AJ Miller, Canby Police. I'm training Wyatt for the next 5 weeks.
Thank you.
Welcome, Wyatt.
Ryan.
And I'm Brianna, Canby Planning.
Good morning, Brianna. So with that, we will go into approval of the last month's meeting notes. Did everyone see them? Any questions, concerns, disbeliefs? Okay,
I make a motion to pass the minutes.
hearing a motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Take a second, any problems? All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Anyone in favor or against it? Okay, passes. Could you do us a favor
I can try.
and add, when we do those speed packets,
I've been meaning to send them out so that they can go out with the agenda.
okay, yeah, the agenda, yeah, so if you could tag me and Teresa. Okay, perfect. That way we get those caught up, because we got the 10th and the Long Bridge, just so. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, hearing, seeing no citizens. No citizen input as is.
Do we have a copy of this letter
Oh,
under citizen input? Josh Whitmer.
no, still no input from him.
Okay.
Thank you, that's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no, he has not contacted me yet, and, so that's still in limbo. Let's see, citizen input, go to old business. We're gonna add the 10th Street and Long Ridge stuff onto the packets on the website. Got that going. Utilizing media for education and traffic concerns. I did not do a YouTube count this month. I apologize, but how are the ladies doing on their traffic and,
On the Facebook page, it's
yeah,
going pretty well.
I've been noticing it quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed and appreciate when you've alerted everyone to accidents and road closures.
And just a reminder to everybody that if you see it, if you like it, comment on or share it, it gets it more algorithms. So we all need to be active helping to promote that. Because if you just read it and don't comment or like it, it slows down the algorithms and doesn't get it out there to more people.
so the citizens of Canby, please do that. Please like and share this. Feel free to share it to everybody.
And I just share as I hear it, I mean, if I don't know about it, I can't share it, so. If you guys know anything, add your comments, post it.
Real quick, Eric.
Yes.
The letter from Mr. Hall that did get sent out, and I do have it. I just clicked on the wrong thing, so. So this is the letter from Mr. Hall.
Oh, for citizen input.
Yeah, for citizen input. Actually, I guess I could.
So there's a corner there, isn't there? It seems like if you're, let's say you're leaving the
It bends at
Wells Fargo
7,
and then,
6.
oh, I got it.
The bend is down at 6, but yes, what he is, sorry, Brianna, give me 1 second, and I will do a screen share so you can see what we're looking at as well. If the computer would. What it is doing.
I think it was asking you what you wanted to screen share.
Oh. Which one is it? Let's go with that one.
There we go, look at you.
Lucky guess, I guess.
Does that area, does it have sidewalks present in that problem area?
It does. We did go through, this was quite a few years ago. Did add crosswalks on all legs of that intersection.
Okay.
No, we did add one at Fourth, but this is the intersection in question is,
Oh, okay, wow,
Fifth and Ivy.
yeah, okay.
And I think what the citizens' concern is coming on Fifth, approaching Ivy, is that if there's anyone parked here or here for a visibility issue.
Is that marked as to not park on those areas?
As far as the city code is for the 30 feet, yes.
Okay.
I know Fourth is bad too. I've been to at least a few crashes at Fourth. You can go directly across, T-bone crashes there. I'm sure Fifth is probably around the
I
same.
think that's right, first accident.
So there is parking on the east side of the road where, if you're on the northbound lane, down at Fourth, it has been restricted quite a bit because of the bus, and there's not parking down here.
Most people don't stop till they get right there
Yeah, and a lot of that
See around that
in the
hedge.
bike
is
lane.
with the vegetation, but it is all technically to code.
Officer Miller, is there any suggestions that jump off the page to solve this problem?
Not off the top of my head right now.
Sounds like it's solved.
I think Jen is gonna have to be up to the driver crossing to make sure, because the law says you have to stop behind the stop sign or the crosswalk if there's a crosswalk there. And then once you came to a complete stop, then it's your job as a driver to have to slowly creep forward until you can clear the intersection before you go. I think some drivers just get impatient and they take a quick look and then they end up in a crash.
Those are pretty wide streets too.
Riding a bicycle down there, I witness it all the time, and it's times I'm hesitant to zoom past that intersection.
Yeah.
People are impatient there.
And the stripes are pretty visible.
Yeah, we put those in because that is one of the more traveled ones for the school, a couple blocks over. We try and highlight them every year, but yeah, his concern was if you were at this stop sign that your visibility of Ivy may not be quite as good.
Wow, I'm helpful with that. Kind of doing about as much as we can, aren't we?
Well, it sounds like subject is done.
Sounds like we just need to put a roundabout in there.
Well, they put us in.
No.
Maybe the
That
block
was
is
interesting.
Thank you, I'm glad.
Someone looked like they didn't trash.
Spencer had a heart attack.
Hey, I don't know that we could put one in because there's not the real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a
We'd
lot.
have to buy all the
Get
property
a four-way
around it.
stop.
Just kidding.
But yeah, his concerns were trying to get onto Ivy Street with the cars parked there.
Did he,
I-
I don't remember seeing this until right now. Did he have a suggested solution? Is he one who stops or? Let's see.
Well, it already has stops.
Yeah, right, it does.
Four-way.
Oh, you four-way.
I don't think that it would,
It would
Warrant.
really, it wouldn't warrant
It
it.
wouldn't.
Usually that's what they ask for.
that's usually what they ask for. Let's say curb extensions is what he was
Oh,
kind of
okay.
asking for.
There we go, I see it. Okay.
I don't know.
Which would give him more room to pull out into the intersection.
It would just be more similar to, Well, and it actually doesn't give you any more room to enter into the intersection because it'd be very much like all of the ones downtown where you have your ADA ramps back. And like AJ had said, is you're supposed to stop behind the crosswalk or at the stop sign before proceeding forward. So with the curb extensions and the bump outs, the crosswalks actually end up coming back a little bit. And so then everyone pulls through the crosswalk all the way.
But that's where the concrete is, that's on the road, so, yeah.
So anyway, this was the letter that was brought up.
Very good catch on that. So, sounds like we've addressed it, and sadly, it's, very well covered by the city. Police office, doesn't think there's anything else to do about it. We'll make sure that the citizens are more concerned about their safety and watch it as they go across the intersection.
Okay.
Finished, next. Let's see.
I guess really one of the only possible solutions is for east and westbound traffic on Fourth and Fifth, the sign maybe that says cross traffic doesn't stop. But
So I know that those are up on Fourth.
Are
I
they?
don't know if they are up on Fifth. I don't think that they are on Fifth, but I know that they are on Fourth because we did
Okay.
actually put those in. That might have been before you got on traffic safety.
Do you find those pretty effective?
I couldn't tell you whether they are or not,
The
honestly.
only problem with that though is he's more worried about visibility than
Yeah,
cross traffic, so those, that would just be a waste of time. So,
So is that sign not an option?
It's not that it's not an option. If it's
it's just cost over it, but
yeah, as if there was a need for a cross traffic does not stop on these stop signs would be the only thing.
Is that intersection reasonably lit if it's getting dark or?
there's a street light right there.
There is a street light right here
Okay.
in the shining into the intersection.
What more do you need?
So
Wow,
I
a little bit there.
I do understand because and especially coming down off of Fifth and Juniper right through here that is a very low traveled coming that direction. I feel like there's still a substantial amount more coming from Ivy
Yeah,
or from Holly over on this side. But coming down from the Juniper and Fifth side, Juniper's not as heavily of a street, and I feel like most people turn off either at 10 or at 9, so it's just kind of that little neighborhood in between 9th and Fifth that would be coming out this way.
Okay, well, if anyone is watching this, I'm not sure what happened. Technical difficulties probably, but I am gonna just stay in the meeting in case they are able to come back. So we shall see.
everyone's gonna have a choice where to pick.
Oh, you can do a little doodle poll.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
perfect.
that way,
Well, why don't we have it set up?
Yeah,
If
you-
you're gonna do it, you want to be able to move it around periodically if we ultimately did buy one, so.
so.
We got lots of poles in the ground that you could attach to, I would think, it's very expensive.
Okay,
Depending on how big it is and what all the requirements are, and I don't,
exactly. So that's why I don't know what I have to do. So I know I have a object and a location. And I don't know if I can move it every 2 weeks. I don't know if I can move it every month. Or once it sits, it stays for 3 months.
So in other words, you'll find all this out,
Okay.
visit with them.
And in theory, yes, I will.
Okay.
In theory.
See what
That's
we
the
can-
goal.
Get back to us.
Because in my theory, I would actually like, since it's a 1 month demo, just to have it sit in one spot. So we can see what a 3 month period would look like. Because realistically, that explains what a 2 week period would look like on one street or another street or another street or another street. So, once we get a foundation set, then we can do whatever we want. But I want a foundation. So, that's my plans. Thank you. Next. Yeah, what is next? New business, adding Southwest Third traffic study.
Actually, can I interrupt you? Because we didn't touch on the logging road traffic safety study,
That's,
or we get it.
did we get those minutes?
I do have those reports, yes.
So,
Logging
he
road.
wants to tap on it.
Okay. So for the logging road, this was for the straightaway stretch right at the bottom of the hill.
Okay.
Speed limit, I believe is 25. I don't know if it's
It's
actually
not posted.
posted.
No.
So I don't know if that is, well, but that technically could be
55.
55.
Oh, it's a rural.
It's a rural,
It's not-
And if I can interrupt you for a second, Jerry suggested that I talk to Joe Merrick from Buckhorn County about, what would be a reasonable speed for that thoroughfare. And he batted it back to Jerry, he said, well, that's kind of a private road, I would leave that up to Jerry.
oh, okay. So there's that and that one back and forth. But
So Clint, what was you said is speed limit?
Actually, I would defer to Officer Miller, because he goes down there quite often, and think if that road was in decent shape, what
But
do
it's
you
not.
think would be a reasonable speed limit?
Well, the state laws say it's gonna be 55 because it's unmarked.
If it
it's
were
not-
marked. If it were. I was,
It also says that it's not posted, it's 55. 100. It's violation of the rule, and it's based on the conditions of the roadway, the weather, and so like, for instance, you're not gonna drive 55 and a 55 if it's snowy, right? The same goes for the condition of the roadway. So if there's huge potholes like there are there, it's probably not safe to go 55 over those, right?
No,
And
not
so
close.
that's just a general rule of like speeding type of thing. And so I couldn't say what speed I would recommend, it's
You
just,
could lower the speed limit down to 20 now.
well,
No, 20.
no, we
20
haven't
20 is
finished.
special.
We haven't finished that ordinance deal. But I think that here's the real question is, although, yes, the city does have some ownership of the road, that is still technically outside city limits. So we do own the road, but
But you can't.
But it's,
Well,
it's in partnership with the county, we could.
yeah,
The county would have to be the last
I would-
approval.
they would, it's a private road that the city inherited. And if we look at kind of some of the data to go with it,
Yeah, let's go back to the date.
the average daily trips for a week period were 95.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, Well, it's because it's the gun club.
The gun club,
Not the
yeah.
residents.
Oh, that's right.
And so
Average speed, where,
the average,
30.59.
the 85th percentile speed, which is what 85% of the people are doing, is 37.
does that seem high to you, Officer Miller?
Not to me.
Okay.
No.
So if it were
Yeah, what,
posted,
36?
if it were posted 35, I mean, assuming that at some point it'll become reasonable condition, that would seem reasonable, wouldn't it?
I don't see it would be unreasonable.
So what if I were to contact Joe Merrick again and ask him if he would object to our posting that at 35 miles an hour, and then I report back to the group?
Do we want it at 35 or?
This
30?
one
Well-
is higher.
They're always gonna go higher than
Yeah,
35.
true.
Well, and I guess
Why are we setting the speed limit?
Yeah.
Because there isn't one.
so it's.
You can't assume that if it's in nice condition, that people are gonna do the right thing. They won't. They need to have,
Are there
Oh,
speeding
that hurts.
complaints? I mean, I know this is an issue.
Jerry would say there's people that lived down beyond the entrance to the gun club grouse about the speeding, and that's why they don't want to have it repaved. And then you've got,
They don't want to punch through from.
They don't want it to be paid.
that's why they want to keep it in terrible condition, which is punishing all the people that go down to the gun club. Not everybody's got a big four-wheel drive truck.
True.
It's not the same area where it's gonna get punched through eventually,
So
that emerald necklace thing.
I'm not for car traffic.
So if I remember correctly, is that half of the road is owned by the gun club and half of the road is owned by,
The gravel company.
that used to be the gravel company,
But
but
now
then
it's-
they donated it to the city.
Okay.
And so the city does have ownership all the way on the old logging road to Maxburg Road, but it is posted private, no entry. So it's not like anyone can just go and travel those roads.
So if we made a change, I'm supposed to just give guys
No, it's all right.
Would we need to be working in partnership with the gun club, since they don't have the road, we're gonna try to make a
I would think,
condition?
so.
Because the gun club says it's not our road.
And
It's half.
this is what all I've always been told on why the one half was in good condition and the one half is not, is that, Traverso, the gentleman that used to own the road, went to them and asked, hey, I'm paving my half. Do you want me to pave your half if you pay for the asphalt while I'm here? And they said no. So that was what I've always been told for the last 25, 30 years that I've been,
Yeah.
so.
It sounds about right.
So, I mean, I don't know what the actual documentation says. I think a better question is, before we go around trying to post speed limits on roads that are outside of the city limits, do you guys patrol that area?
Unless
So-
we're going to the range, we never drive down.
So even if you post the speed limit on a private
It
road,
would just be a suggestion.
it's just for them to,
There's no
I
enforcement.
mean.
Well, and I feel like our officers' time is better spent on roads that are more traveled and more dangerous
Yeah.
for the citizens that than a road that's not.
And it's being that it's outside the city limits, we're not gonna pave it yet anyway. Clint.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna spend money on pavement outside the city limits. So unless they were to annex in, it's not our jurisdiction to maintain.
Sorry.
It's okay, I know, I did see it, and I
I can
can
see
see
the
the frustration, but that's kind of the constraints of our reality.
Any more info on the Long Ridge?
Can I get a copy of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my apologies. I'm backed up on a couple of these that were supposed to be sent out to the whole group. I know that, Jenny had asked for Southwest Third, and so that was gonna be the other one that I had. I had got two short, week-long periods, one in September and one just this last week for Third Avenue, in between, Elm and Ivy. I don't know if you want to
Theoretically, when you give that to Teresa,
It'll go out to everybody then, yeah.
well, it'll be posted on the city page, so they
Oh,
can just go to
okay.
the city page and take a look at it. And if they wanna make a copy off of it, they can make a copy off the city page. Anything else?
Okay. Well, I'll bring it up when we have our comments.
Okay. Let's do. Police reports we already taken care of, so, and the police, I had asterisks on that with, the letter regarding from the intersection, so that's taken care of. Same with planning, so it's your,
I'm up. So I was just looking at it and it says adding Southwest Third for a traffic study. I have a traffic study for that. I don't know if everyone wants to do a quick overview of it. See, this one was the one in September. And screen share without everything locking up again. Hopefully it doesn't. So this study was from September 3rd through the 8th. Unfortunately, the battery died on the device before it could go for the full time period that was needed. But on that stretch for that time period, average daily trips were about 870 in the westbound direction. The max speed was claiming 54 miles per hour. At 12:30 in the afternoon. I don't know if that's,
So that's true.
I don't know if that's how, every once in a while for this thing, whenever it gets me some, one data point that's way, way out there, I tend to think that there may be some equipment malfunctioning on it, but that's just me. But it looks like that, the 85th percentile speed was about 28 miles an hour. So majority of people are, at least in this time period, are going in the speed limit or just barely over, because I know police, you guys are kind of in that grace period of about 5 to 6 miles an hour. 11. But
soon to be 25.
But anyway, so that's just kind of where that one was for that particular time period. I did actually have the guys set it up again a second time, basically a month later. And this is kind of after the majority had been a little bit more traffic, school traffic is still going on. And average daily trips were 514. So about 300 cars less a day for the average over a 5-day period. And then your speed dropped considerably. So your 85th percentile was going right at the speed limit. 50% of the people are doing 21 miles an hour. And then the max speed was 46 miles an hour is what they were calling for. And that was at 4:30 in the afternoon. So I think that with 99 traffic mostly flowing freely now, because King is pretty much off the highway, I think that 300 average daily trips on those roads has really, I don't know if Jenny's noticed it as much, but having that little bit of information back to back like that, I don't know.
300 cars is a lot.
It,
That's a pretty big
But that's,
reduction.
I think that's obviously 99 diversion.
I think a lot of that is 99 diversion, and when you think of, so it's doing a 12-hour or a 24-hour period, you're filing all those. So when you think of like rush hour, if there's cars going by, yeah, you just know the cars are going by. But realistically, adding to certain intersections or certain roadways, if you add 100 average daily trips, you don't notice it at all. But, so that was the stuff from Third Avenue, and like I said, I'm planning on, as soon as the meeting's over, sending all this over to you and Teresa, so that they can get.
There's no presence of crosswalks along that thoroughfare, is
For Third Avenue,
there? Yeah.
No.
And there's really, is it ADA friendly and with sidewalks?
there are sidewalks, a lot of them are older sidewalks, I don't know that. There might be a couple of places where they are up to current ADA standards, and I think that's kind of more, especially on Third, any of the new development that would have happened recently, so the stuff at like the Zor Lutheran Church, any of the townhomes or apartments that have gone in along Third, but everything else is gonna be for Old Town Canby sidewalks that have been there for 50+ years.
I think once Jen and Jennifer's back, at some point, I think we should schedule a field trip out there with Officer Miller and really kind of point out, even if there's identify where good locations would be for safe crossing, even if eventually you have to add, freshen up ADA ramps. So in other words, we kind of plan ahead. And from that field trip, we could really determine if we want to reinvestigate one-way streets, because I really think that's probably the solution long term.
One of my colleagues says that.
It's not recorded right now, don't worry.
Okay.
Bringing up the one-way streets again and seeing so that meets all of fire's requirements, I think that would be it.
Go after the election.
When I first moved along, that was one of the projects we did, was a field trip.
Yeah.
And it had to do with the fire department, it had to do with the condos. and-
For the parking.
Yeah, so that just sort of went away, and we haven't pursued it any further. We resolved this, so we know it's gonna stay the same.
As of right now, yeah, it has been in limbo, there hasn't really been any movement. I think this committee has gotten pulled in so many other different directions for, if that's something that we actually wanna come up with a plan for, it needs to be something from this committee.
Combine it with the field trip that the plant
Yeah,
come up with and review this and see, and ask the fire department, hey, is everything okay, or are you still, is there still issues?
Where's the fire department? They haven't been here.
Fire department will never show up.
Who's the liaison, is it supposed to be now?
It's bad English.
All English.
So they used to come off.
They get to know all the time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what I can do. I can talk to Matt, nothing else, I'll talk to the chief, but I think someone else. I mean,
We'll see.
Counselor Davis.
Because there's so many things that the fire department has talked about, and they're not.
Yeah, I will talk to CFD regarding liaison. I will see if
Good
we
luck.
can't get Matt, maybe we get somebody else.
That's kind of what seems to be holding up.
So and I mean,
Lost her. We're back again. How long were we gone this time?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Uh,
I can't see you.
You'd have to make parking on one side, if you made it a one-way street, you could still have parking on both sides. I think the neighborhood would probably be more amenable to it if they could keep their parking. One-way street with parking on both sides, because if you take away a strip of parking, you could maintain two-way.
It's more the,
But
it's more the
there's-
back and forth.
Yeah, there's very limited parking in each resident driveway, so they use the street, so.
Yeah.
I think one-way streets with the. Anyway. And parking on one side, if you're parking on both sides, well.
And that's in the area that we were talking about too, if correct me if I'm wrong, that's the truck route.
Yes,
Yep, second is a truck route.
which is crazy, but if that's the way it is, then it really needs to be addressed.
It's a
And
truck
school
route from-
buses,
It's a truck route from,
I do agree.
Ivy to Grant. Not gonna have it tonight.
So the purpose of one-way streets is to,
Improve overall safety for
overall
pedestrians
safety for
and
the whole
riders.
neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah. It's a-
And one concern that I had and actually expressed in a conversation with Bob Canberra was that if we do turn these into one-way streets, speeds will increase. Traffic speeds will increase because if you've got parking on both sides and you now widen the lane for the person driving, they will have faster speeds, and Bob agreed, and he thought that was the case as well.
Opportunity cost.
Yes, so,
But that's a small, if we're talking about,
If you maintain parking on both
it's
sides,
gonna make it still there.
it could still be narrow enough.
It's not like 13.
but then you still have cars speed because they don't have anything coming against them. And then on top of that, then you have
Driving both
children
sides.
that come out between cars when they're speeding down the street. So one-way streets would be awesome.
Field trip,
Field trip, yeah, and Jennifer's favorite would be there.
field trip with the school buses are going,
Yeah.
and your time during.
Or our hours.
Mm-hmm.
Planning.
depending on what else I have for any kind of reports going on. We're pretty much wrapping up the end of alleyway reconstruction.
Yeah, good job, thank you.
Yeah, very good.
They're planning on paving the last two, hopefully Thursday, Friday, and then they're gonna go back through and, if they can get their concrete stuff, to commit to a day on tearing out all of the ADA ramps going into the alleys, replacing those. And then try to coordinate with any of the business owners, people there. That should all be starting this week. I believe South Ivy is, I think they've got almost all of the pipe work done for the county project. And I don't know how much they're going to be continuing on with that once the weather really hits until kind of later next spring. If I heard them correctly at the last meeting, then without that being a city project, I don't keep track of it every portion of that quite as much as I should. That's kind of all I really have, unless you have
Question
questions.
for you.
Okay.
So on Southwest 13th by Hope Village was like water main, right?
Yes, I haven't actually had a chance to make it over there yet. I thought Monday when it happened or Sunday when it happened. I'm not real happy about it, which is why I haven't
It's
gone out there.
happened before. so-
Yes, it has, and it was, you know, that road's not even 2 years old and now we're having to cut it.
Yeah.
Oof.
So I'm not real happy at the moment about that, so I haven't made it out there.
Is that because, this has happened before, is it a bad repair was doing?
I did talk to the water department, this problem is not the exact same spot where the repair was made. That repair, because I was like, That's
It
right
was
where,
like right there.
right where you guys were working, and he's, no, this one is about 20 feet over from where the water plant is.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's why I,
They're not lost.
yes, yes. So that's about all I have for my stuff, unless anyone else has any questions.
Thank you very much. Wow.
Brianna? How are you?
Hello. Yeah, I had an update about the beer library. Ryan did an inspection, and they've been granted temporary C of O. So I think they're going to do a soft opening before the large opening. So if I have any more intel on that, I'll let you know. But looks like they're going to be opening soon. Canby Adult Center has still not submitted for the Holly location, but I'm in contact with them every few days about their application. So that should also be coming. Chipotle, no update on that one. No TCO yet. And then Spencer, I was wondering if you saw the email about the food cart pod, Millar's.
Email for the food cart pod from the Lars.
Mm-hmm.
I can look real quick. Is that something that I should look up right now?
No, maybe I'll give you a call after this meeting. Let me see.
Do you know how many food carts there?
Yeah. ODOT had a question. But yeah, I can call you after the meeting. Yeah, but other than that, I can answer questions.
I was asking if you know how many food carts were proposed there?
Where?
Millar's?
6.
What's the plan if the adult center moves to Holly? What's the plan with the old adult center? That will be it.
Tracy, did you have?
Crazy man.
I know, I saw. We aren't sure yet. There are some agreements in place that I think limit what can be done with it, and there's also some public money. So we don't know yet, essentially.
Okay.
Any news on Marshall's?
They've requested inspection for certificate of occupancy, but I think fire went inside and it's still just a shell. So we signed off on their business permit, but it seems like they still have some physical work to do in there before they open.
How about grocery outlet?
That one's dicey. Let's see what Brianna knows and then I'll tell you what I've heard.
They are working with Emma on design review. I think we are going to sign off on the business license as long as the scope is what we think it's going to be. I don't know what's dicey about it.
Hey, ownership. Last I heard, the couple in Malala owns, the one that owns the one in Malala, that couple was supposed to own this one. But now I've been told that they aren't going to have that one, and actually it's corporate owned right now, and they don't have a franchisee yet.
Oh, interesting.
I thought too.
Yeah, so I don't know when it's gonna open. They're still trying to find.
They
a
were saying
franchisee.
sometime late 2025 is
Yeah,
what.
it could be empty for a while. So, I don't know.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's see, Tracy.
Thank you. I'll pick up where Brianna left off on the adult center, since that came up. We own the building, the school district owns the dirt. And the adult center is its own nonprofit. They are moving to Holly, and we were gonna be having discussions on what the future of that building will be. We're gonna include the school district in those discussions so that we can pool our resources, things that we don't own the dirt, and have to work in concert with the school district on that. There is public money involved, so there are some limitations on what it could be used for, either more adult services, but we're actually, the temperature of the council is moving more towards something for the youth. And so it'll be something, we don't know what it looks like yet, it's very early conversations. But especially with working with the school district, I have a hunch it'll go that direction for youth.
Sounds good.
Already talked about grocery outlet. You said something earlier in the meeting today about code enforcement and, like parking in the wrong lane or bike lane and that kind of thing. And I actually did have a conversation with Chief Tro. And when we see those things, we're just supposed to email it directly to Christina.
Okay,
And then she takes it from there. It doesn't go through the county or through dispatch or anything like that. You call the non-emergency number and talk to Chrisanne or send her an email that we can send her pictures.
she seems to drag her feet on a lot of things. She's made some people really upset in this community.
Well, that's a conversation that maybe you should probably have with the chief. Direct those concerns to him. That would be my suggestion. As we all already know, the food cart, the Candy Beer Library is open. They opened Saturday and we went, no, they opened Friday, but I was at the homecoming game. I went Saturday. And I went with the intention of going to my friend's barbecue truck and he was already sold out by the time I got there. But they were getting food there that we ate, so yeah, that was a lot of fun and looking forward to the rest of the carts getting their cells opened. I think that's, and today at 5 o'clock, we're doing ribbon cutting at Legacy Park for the fitness sport. So 5 o'clock at Legacy Park, fitness sport opening. That's all I have unless you have questions.
I have one question. This was really, I was gonna cover my area, but one of the questions that Jerry suggested, I talked to Joe Merrick about, light at South End Road. And he seemed to say that was kind of put on hold when the tolling was put on hold. Do you know anything on that?
Not specifically about that light, other than I and Councilor Davis both very much like to see it happen. I don't know the conversations at the county level have been. That makes sense that they were probably more apt to do it with the tolling thing. And that is truly just a pause. So the tolling conversation will continue. So I would just suggest staying on this subject with them.
And one
following it.
question I have is, one of the things that Matilda Dees was quite successful at with the city was, I think, grant writing. And I just wondered, what do you think of the idea if we were to seek a grant writer to try to pursue some of our traffic safety efforts? Would that be reasonable?
We had conversations about getting a grant writer for the city in general, so
Okay.
I can see where we're at with that.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of the projects that we get excited about pursuing usually run into, we don't have the money to do, and so it would seem like that would be a worthwhile.
I'll add it to
Thing
my
to
list of
pursue.
things to come.
Good call. I like that.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, and so I can bring it up again, either with the city administrator in our meetings, or, I don't think we budgeted for it this year though, but, I'm pretty sure we did. I'll have to look at the budget, but I don't think we did. We did talk about it though, so I can see where we're at with that
Okay.
and let you know. I mean, our little start ideas are things to come back next time. That's all I got.
All right, so, Deanna.
Okay, we're still having problems with the school zone. People aren't obeying the school zone signs on 13th. I come out of my loop and I'm going 20 and I'm getting honked up, but I'm like, whatever, I'm going what we're supposed to go. Also, there's been the continuous parking issues on, by the softball soccer fields. People are in the bike lanes. The other day I was going to work and I was thinking, well, I could see the boy coming in the bike lane, but when there's cars parked there on 13th and the bike lane's next to it, it's hard to see if people are not following the rules with the yellow striping because they're parking in the yellow. And just gonna continue being a problem until people get tickets. But I've even tried to report a semi truck parked illegally and basically get laughed at when I call. So.
So there.
Something around.
So I got a question on that. When you're saying it's on the baseball field side, baseball, field,
Softball,
softball, baseball.
yeah.
And the cars are actually parked within the space of the white stripe, right? So then,
But then they're parked over the line of the bike lane.
And they park in front of that yellow. curb.
And they park in front of the yellow curb, they park wherever, they even blocked our, private street and actually did damage to a sign.
so,
They park in the curb,
Yeah,
so if you're walking along that street.
okay, so, well, because I'm having trouble seeing. I've driven by there several times and seen several cars parked there. Fitting perfectly normally in the white space, not in the bike space, and not on the curb.
Go during an event.
yeah, during a big event, I mean, it's ridiculous, and then you got somebody that parks there too, and they're parking around the semi.
Is there adequate parking in the high school parking lot?
You have to
And
walk.
the church parking lot, and that's inconvenience. This is all convenience. The too damn lazy to walk around places to get to where they need to be. They want part of convenience.
I'm just getting more concerned because now there are kids riding in the bike lanes. And I'm worried that there's gonna be an accident one of these days that could be huge. And people just right now don't give a rip as things.
So can we take and put Jersey barriers in there and just block all the parking spaces?
Maybe concrete.
Jersey barriers are not cost effective. And,
Eyesore.
yeah.
Well, once they're there, ain't nothing.
It's true, but expensive and sort of.
Yeah, that's not, and Jersey barriers are meant for deflecting. If you're trying, they're not crash rated for coming head on or something like that. So depending on how you try to,
Let's see if a car does drive that way.
so you're wanting to just line the entire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way it would just
No.
curve right into the lane.
That
You
won't
would be more cost effective to rebuild a street, narrow the street. There's no reason to install Jersey.
Or we can go to Wilco and get those little silver tubs and put planters.
I don't know if this is something that can be done or not, but maybe having a conversation with the school athletic department whenever they're having events.
We don't have a pass.
And have they had change over in the school to where they've got maybe
And
a
then
new.
we put a small, they got a new superintendent.
So it might be worth having a conversation with them that, hey, you guys are having these events. Everyone's trying to park out here on the street and the neighborhood instead of in your guys' parking area. Whether it's an assistant coach or a volunteer from the parents or somebody like that, just be out there and say, hey, please don't park. Put the no parkings or, I mean, they're throwing the event, they should be.
Yeah, they should be monitoring
They
it.
should have a hand in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then
But see, I could go over there and talk to the principal and say, this is the problem that we're having. Kids, you watch it and next time, you know, cars are gonna get towed, but unless
Well, I
it
guess,
gets
I mean,
towed,
if nothing else, if you just have somebody out there with a, vest, you know, and just
Directing people.
walking people and be like, hey, you know, this is no parking right
Move
here.
along.
but they may not wanna take that liability.
And I get that.
Which is so.
But it is their event, that's what
Yeah.
concerns me, just, I'm mostly concerned when I see kids trying to ride their bikes and have a good time, but then you got people parking in their path, it's like, oh, great, now I gotta get into this roadway where people go a lot faster than they should too. So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, but these are happening after like hours, so after 4 PM, 5 PM.
Yeah, it's on the weekend.
yeah, it's always on the weekend, that's what's
But
bad.
I guess it's like, too, I call non
It
emergency.
doesn't really fall under Chris-Ann, but maybe the on-duty officers during that time frame were to go by, I'm sure they could write a ticket for parking someplace, couldn't they?
So what you could also do is probably email Chris Ann, and it would be up to our admin if they want to approve her to come work overtime on a weekend. To at least maybe a couple weekends will help and people will get the word out that code enforcement's working on the weekend. And maybe that will solve it. So that might be a conversation that you'll have with Chris Ann via email and see if she can get approved to go out there on a weekend.
Okay,
Maybe we can tag team that and I can go talk to the principal and say the next weekend she shows up and enforces it and he goes, oh shit, well, we should do something about it.
And
Too late
that
now.
conversation should probably happen between the city administrator and the superintendent.
Yeah.
It shouldn't come directly.
So different events, there's softball, soccer, everything else going on over there.
And some of it could be youth sports too.
it's the youth sports and the high school stuff, because it's sometimes on the weekday, because I know the other day I was driving home from work, you know, it's like, oh, there's a big event, because I had somebody pulled over in front of South Cedar Drive, and they're blocking our entrance to a roadway to pick up their child. I'm like, there's no parking on this side. So I rolled down my window and I said, you need to get out of the area parked in the church, and she ended up moving.
I think there was one time when we had to call an emergency, because someone parked right at that little thing in the middle of the island.
Mhm.
Yeah, so.
Oh geez, really?
Yeah, you could barely get through, if the fire truck wouldn't be able to get out.
Somebody parked.
Yeah,
Well, that sounds like something I would do.
Okay, but a little long.
Yeah, it's getting up right now.
Well, Gary?
I'm kind of sympathetic to this cause only because I'm a grandparent, so I go to soccer games with my grandkids, but it's over in Beaverton, so it's a lot worse when it comes to parking. I know what it's like, the parking lot gets full, then you got the overflow of everybody else coming in there. Sometimes you just try to squeeze too much into a small bag there. And going to the people that promote the games, and then of course, the people that have the field, is probably the path that you should take. We must know there's a problem. That's all I gotta put into that one.
Clint?
Actually, I've exhausted my concerns.
And I only printed off page 1 of 2, so who's next?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Jackie.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my husband had a concern. It was a few weeks ago, so I didn't go to last month's meeting. It was about 5:30, the person passing cars again on Southeast 13, about 5:30 in the morning. And it was within the KMB city limits, it was right before 35-mile-an-hour sign. And then there's been an obnoxious, Deanna's that obnoxious motorcycle rider on some days. Was speeding through the neighborhood in the afternoon. And then the only other concern I had was there's multiple people concerned about the high school kids on the lunch hour going to the Safeway parking lot. and just kind of like not having any traffic awareness. Not that everybody needs to have that.
What was that again?
About the traffic awareness at Safeway, lunch hour, that's where all the kids just mass encroach onto that parking area.
And the kids need to be responsible walking through a parking lot where there's cars.
So it's like everybody needs to be aware, people, the kids and the adults that are driving, because I try to make sure I don't go there at that time, and sometimes I forget. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I usually get stuck in the store and then on Moss backpacker day. I'm like, oh no, I can't get out of here in time.
then when are we doing that, working on our PSAs? I know that Canby Police did the railroad track safety awareness week.
Mhm.
Did you guys?
Yeah, I participated in that, so we stopped, we pretty much just waited by levels. I know there's a hole in the fence there, ODOT had told me about it.
Yeah.
Levels refusing to fix it,
Oh,
and that's where the kids that live on the north side of town cross the
Yeah.
tracks from. And we contacted, I think, close to a dozen high schoolers, and everybody was given warnings for trespassing. And I haven't checked on it again since, but I think again, we'll probably check again at some point. Every contact is documented in a police report, and so all the kids that were warned for trespassing, if they're contacted again, they may be.
so what about the liability for the fence hole, when they don't want to fix it? Is that a liability on business?
Uh,
Yeah, I know you may not
I mean,
know, that's my
it
question.
could be, I guess, I don't know.
If one of the kids got hurt or worse, there could be a potential lawsuit, I would think, but I don't know. Hopefully,
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, one could argue that it's not their responsibility,
they're trespassing, so there's that.
but it's their private property, they have the fence on, it's,
Right, so to get injured, you would be trespassing private property.
But then they have weird laws, like if you rob somebody in the house.
You get hurt, you get sued.
That's true, there's been people that, yeah, I got shot robbing your house, I'm
Yeah, I
telling you.
mean, it's crazy. It's interesting. But I think that's all I have, except for the PSAs, I think we talked about some more awareness around crosswalks. We mentioned that this morning. And then, where do you want us to think of things? Like the traffic safety.
That idea is reached.
That it just-
One out, one
I mean, I'm all for continuing it.
Yes, I-
By all means.
Yeah, I think it helps, I mean, I think, especially with our media page, that we can put things on there. And we already talked about it a little bit about that.
yeah, a resource for that is Oregon Impact, I don't know if you know who that is, Oregon Impact is, they do car seats, crosswalk stuff.
Yeah.
You could always call them and see if they have any ideas about PSA stuff, they may have like a format or like ideas that will help. So, they're just right in Gladstone, or you can call
That's all I have.
Good job.
Tina,
My concern was the truck route that I emailed to Eric, where there was 2 instances where trucks were turning on Ivy or off of Ivy and should not have been going the direction they were going and impacting the turning lanes, and concerned about the signage.
Yeah, it's a
So
little.
like Eric was saying, that we're not signage on 99.
Yeah, there is the signage on Ivy, and, there is no signage on 990 going, eastbound. So from Grant all the way through, nothing, go to Ivy and then past, to the next street, there's still nothing indicating a truck route. So Ivy, or 990 is ODOT's.
I don't know if they've completed installing all signs after all the construction. Right.
Yeah, there's-
I think there's still some temporary stop signs out in some places and stuff, so I don't know where they're at.
I've seen a lot of waiver trucks during the construction. I have an extra pallet of 99s open. We'll probably be falling out this morning.
These were just in the last week. So if there was some really closures on the other areas for them to go. I just don't know if the signage that's on Ivy is visible enough, like is somebody drawing attention to them?
Have you seen the Fury?
Which, the rerouting off 99.
No, the sign is on Ivy. Truck signs on.
Well, yeah, they're,
Those
all right, well, I think about Spencer's, involvement with the trucker that came up to the detour sign. The guy sits there staring at the detour sign saying, my GPS said I'm supposed to go straight. Yeah, so you got some guys out there that are totally brain dead, and it's not really their fault because their GPS is designed for cars and it nice bridge. There's finally a truck pulled over there by, it was in bed for a while, but, Dan, he lives in that neighborhood. And,
Oh, yeah, Dan, Ebert.
yeah, Dan Eber, that was it, yeah, and he, right there by his neighborhood, there was a truck pulled over, I don't know, it was county, city, state, and yeah, he was pulled over. They didn't have a scale out there, but the fact that he's registered for 80,000 pounds, he comes across a 20,000 pound bridge. You'd have him backed up all the way to I-5 if you kept pulling every one of them over, you'd have a mess out there. But how do you enforce it? I mean, you guys have better things to do, go after commercial truckers, except for I think he had portable inspections one time by Territorial in 99. Chris, the other motorcycle, Chris.
Chris Mako, he used to be a truck.
Yeah, he
inspector,
was
he's
doing
not
that.
anymore.
We
I don't know what to tell you.
We had a truck master guy.
We used to make, Chris Mako used to be, and he's not anymore.
What if, Tina, what if we had Gary, because he's our truck expert? Gary, would you be willing to, look at those two areas that
You
Tina?
mean like 90 and 99 where the truck
Yeah,
lines are?
and you provide what recommendations you might have for signage?
Well, that could be a challenge. Candy's always been notoriously unfriendly to trucking industry. I mean, I've lived here 8 years now. And prior to that, I've partied and been to events here for 30 years, and yet this city is the worst. And I'm not sure if you have to have a billboard with blinking lights, and this is the way through town. I'm not saying it couldn't be solved, but just saying it's been a challenge.
It just makes me wonder if like on the stop sign on Pine there where everybody fails to stop and I notice now
Yeah.
it's blinking,
Yeah.
if it's something like that, where it catches their attention. Hopefully they're not on their cell phones and they're actually watching where they're.
Maybe like those speed signs that are getting the thumbs up, or smiley face, or. So you did a superb job.
There's gotta be other communities with the same problem.
Yeah.
And Silverton comes to mind, Mount
I
Angel,
just drove them.
because there's a small community and they have truck traffic coming through. I don't pay attention to the signs anymore, I don't have to deal with commercial stuff.
See, and I
I'm
think
retired.
they don't, I think even the truckers aren't paying attention to the signs, and the problem is then they're trying to turn where they're trying to turn, they're turning into
Well,
the wrong lane where there's cars there, and then those cars are scrambling to get out of the way.
Makes sense to it, you can't make corners.
well, like down on Elm there, you have the little barriers that the city engineer, good truck drivers should make that turn. Good truck drivers come there still, you curve the island and drive it up over the sidewalk. Sorry, folks, I hate to, negative spin on this, but it's a bad design.
Eric? Your turn, close it off.
It's nice bridge construction.
Yeah, I think last I heard wasn't it supposed to be next summer, I think.
I was
It's
spring or
good.
summer.
It's one of those, they keep saying it's coming.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like.
No, they're talking about spring, summer closures. It's gonna be closed for 6 months, though, when you do it.
Yeah, my report is, I'm all done with my drink, so I'm good to go.
Okay,
Every
we've
drink is 50, doesn't matter.
adjourned the meeting at 10:04, is that right?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Brad.
And I'll figure out some time we can all get together. You get